Hello friends, I'm Rosa, welcome. So today we are talking about my 2025 reading project. I have been doing these in 2024, which I failed miserably. I also did one in 2023. I think I did better in that one, but honestly, I can't really remember. So I have kind of been going for different themes for at least the 2024 one. This one is like backlog, but also books that I've just kept in my Kindle Unlimited library for a while. And also a couple of newer purchases that I just know that if I don't put them on the list, they're gonna be sitting on my shelves for like years because I'll be scared to read them as I am. Anyway, so that's the theme. We're gonna go through these quickly because we do have 25 books to go through. I will say, and no, this is not like I wrote down the list before I started reading books. I wrote it down on the first, but I finished 2 of them already because I was just really into both of them actually, but also one of them is an ARC by Ali Hazelwood, so like, you know. But we're gonna start with actually one of those. Quicksilver by Kelly Hart. I did read that one already. We're gonna talk about my thoughts on it in the wrap up that's coming up at the start of February. But this is a romantasy, slightly dark, I want to say, with fae, and basically a girl is taken to the land of the fae because she has abilities to talk to Quicksilver, and they need this ability to create some things for the fae army there because there's a war going on, and so she's constantly like butting heads with this guy who took her, basically kidnapped her. They don't really get along that well, and then, you know, it is a romantasy, so put 2 and 2 together, but it's nice. I actually started this last year, which is why this is on the list, because I started it and then for some reason I stopped reading around 25%. Not because I didn't like it, not because I was confused or anything. I think I started it maybe in December and I just got busy. So I never had the chance to finish it. And it felt a little bit like I would like it. So I decided to put it on the reading project and I finished it already. I read it in like 2 days. It was nice. Anyway, we have, of course, the mandatory Morning Star by Pierce Brown sci-fi, and this is the 3rd one in the series. It's the ending of the first trilogy and then it kind of continues after, so there's going to be some kind of conclusion in this and I'm a little bit nervous. It's a bit of a thicker one compared to the other 2 as well. We are sitting on 500 plus pages, but Red Rising and Golden Sun were so good. Red Rising was one of my 5-star reads of 2023, I think, and Golden Sun got 4.5, so I am like slightly terrified. Oh, there's a summary at the start of it with like what's going on in Red Rising and Golden Sun. That is so nice. Thank you. Even though I did tab both of them so I could just go through the tabs. Anyway, this is like brutal. Think like infiltrating a powerful society, but also as someone who was previously a slave. And then also there's like these games that are to the death essentially, and it's just all like brutal and backstabbery and you can't trust anyone, and I love every moment of it, but also it's making me develop serious trust issues, so you know, that's a thing. But we're gonna just deal with it, it's fine. Then we have the other, I think this is the only 2, these are the only 2 sci-fi books on the list. Scarlet by Marissa Mayer, and this is the sequel to Cinder. I have had these books since like 2021 or 2022, something like that. I loved Cinder so much. It's a retelling of Cinderella, but a bit of a twist to it though. And I mean, a pretty big twist to it. Obviously, I think this is it Red Riding Hood? I feel like it's Red Riding Hood, right? I feel that's what it is. She just reminds me of Merida from Brave, so I don't know. Oh, she looks like me today because my hair is wild. I just realized. That's fine. Anyway, so I don't know where we're going with this. All I know is this is like big bad evil kind of brewing in the background and they have to deal with these girls, and we got a high-tech society. I think Cinder in the first book is a bit of an android or cyborg. She's a cyborg, not an android, because she has human parts still. There's royals in there as well, and I think certain things mentioned in the first book that will probably be very relevant when we get to Tress. But it's taken me a while to continue the series because I liked Cinder so much. I just keep pushing it off. Like, I don't know, and it's stupid I do that, but I do, and I'm terrible at it. so I should stop. So we're getting to this one this year. It is happening for sure. I'm excited. I don't read a lot of YA, but like I am so excited for this. I am. We have, of course, one that's not released yet. I don't have a copy of it yet, but I did pre-order the Waterstones edition, and I'm really hoping. I found out that my bookstore is going to have the deluxe edition, the US deluxe edition, so I'll hopefully get a copy of that one as well before they're sold out. She did make it seem like they had a fair amount, so we'll see. But I'm like really hoping. But it's Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, which is the third book in the Empyrean series. So we have Fourth Wing, Ironflame, and then Onyx Storm. And it took me a while to get started with Ironflame. It took me like a year or something like that. A fair amount of time. But I was also just nervous about it. So I'm putting it on the list though, because I really want to. I'm dying to know what happens after that cliffhanger in the sequel. So I'm really just gonna push myself to maybe read it a little bit earlier in the year instead of just dragging it out, because I did get a few spoilers here and there, nothing too bad, but unfortunately it's a little bit difficult to like navigate the book community online without getting certain things spoiled, especially when it's like super hyped series like this. And also I had a lot of like opinions, not me, but like thrown at me online in regards to Ironflame, and it does kind of make it hard to like fully shape your own while reading when you constantly have these like in the background. Anyway, so I'm gonna try to get into it a little bit earlier in the year, but it's romantasy with dragons and rebels and a society, or not a society, but like an organization that arguably maybe needs to be taken down or at least like reformed or something. So we got a little bit of that going on as well. Then we have The Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole. This is the sequel to The Book of Asriel. It's the series, I think the series is called Gods and Monsters. I loved The Book of Asriel. I had been sitting on that. I had it as an ebook for I don't know how long, a long time, way before I got my KU subscription. So it's been like a long time. It's been since before 2022. I don't know, it's terrible. But I don't know why it took me so long to get started with it. I thought maybe it was a little bit of a daunting task because the first one is like 800 pages, the ebook. I think it's a little bit thinner if you read it as a paperback, but the ebook said 800 pages. So I got nervous. And it took me a while to get started, and then I just loved it. So now I'm like gonna try to push myself to continuing the series. It's not a finished one yet, so I can take my time with it a little bit. Just like maybe not read them all in a row to make sure that I don't just suddenly sit with like, oh, I'm gonna be missing 3 books all of a sudden. It'd be nice to like drag it out a little bit, but I really want to read the sequel. I really want to know what's going on as well. Romantasy, a little bit on the darker side, and we have to do with monsters as well. The lead woman is technically a monster, and the lead guy is technically kind of like a god figure. I always saw his side as a bit like comparable to angels, whereas her side is a little bit comparable to demons, and I just like the like, I don't know why I like that, but without it actually being angels versus demons, because they're not, but like if you want to compare it to something, that's what I would compare it to. I like that vibe, I like that conflict, I don't know. So, but yeah, I'm excited to get into that as well. I have it waiting for me in my KU library. Then we have Debent by Ali Hazelwood, which I did read already, and oh my god. Okay, listen, this is a book that comes out in February. I was lucky enough to be offered an ARC of it actually, which was so exciting, and because I love Ali Hazelwood so much. The thing is, I put a romantasy book on pause, Wrath of the Damned I think it was, because it's a little bit smutty, like a little tiny bit, teeny tiny bit smutty, and there's certain talks now and then, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna read it in public, and I was going to Copenhagen, I needed something to read on the way back especially, so I was like, I'm just gonna start an Ali Hazelwood book, that's fine, it's just a romance, it's gonna take a while before we get to those scenes, it's gonna be fine. So I went into it without reading the description, because I don't do that sometimes. If I trust the author, or if it's like a super hyped book, I won't actually read the description before going into the book. So I didn't know that it was about 2 college students making a BDSM deal, and it just went very smutty very quickly. And I'm sitting on the train like, oh. I hope the guy who is reading on his Kindle in front of me, I've only ever seen 2 people with Kindles in real life, by the way, and he's one of them. I hope he's not sitting there looking at me, reading my facial expressions. I don't don't know, because I was sitting like, oh. It got a little bit, in my head it got a little bit awkward, but I'm pretty sure that I covered it up well. I don't really know. I was reading it on my laptop, so, which is also brave of me, but my mom can't. She was sitting next to me and she can't actually see that well, so I felt like it was safe from her at least. But yes, I was like locked in. I was not gonna stop reading it. I was just gonna deal with it. But it was fun. We're gonna talk about it in the wrap up, but it's obviously like a little bit on the BDSM side. I think it's not a little bit on the BDSM side. I don't know what that means in terms of genres, but anyway, I don't see it as full-on erotica, but definitely draws from erotica because sex is a big part of the plot, with their deal being a big part of the plot. But it is a romance. At the core, it's a romance, and it's a bit new adultish, with them being students and sports people, athletes, but also I would probably say it's mostly adult though. not so much, I don't know. It was interesting. I liked it a lot. We're gonna talk about it in the wrap up though. Then we have, oh my gosh, what is the author? It's actually a whole series, but I've only included the first book. These were taken off KU in 2023, at the start of 2023, I think. I've had them in my library since before that, because in case you did not know, when you download books to your KU library, even if they're taken off of KU, they don't remove the books from your library, so you can keep them up until you return them, then you just can't get them back. So I've been sitting with all 6 books of Savage Lands by Stacey Marie Brown in my KU library. They're taking up like over a quarter of my library. And or I have a lot more books than 20 on my iPad. However, you can borrow 20 from KU and they're taking up 6 spots out of those 20. So I kind of like need to read them so I can return them and then we can move on to something else. I really want to read them because I know that they sound like they would be right up my alley. That said, I cannot fully remember what they're about at the moment. It's like something to do with Fae, a woman is in prison and there's an inmate there and they kind of bump heads and certain things evolve. It's romantasy. With Fae, I think. I'm pretty sure there's something to do with Fae. Oh, it also says dystopia actually, and a little bit dark, so I guess we'll see about it. But been sitting in my library for way too long and I really want to read them, and that's why I haven't returned them, because I know that I can't just like easily get access to them again. So, well, I could buy them, but ebooks are so expensive these days, and the paperbacks for these ones have not been released in the UK, which is where I get my English paperbacks or books in general. So they would be pricey because I'd have to get them in the US editions, and they cost a lot more over here. Book prices are a little bit, I don't get why ebooks are so expensive, because technically there's no distribution, there's no materials needed. Like, why are they so expensive? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, well, that's a talk for another video though, that I'm probably not gonna make ever. But now you got a little bit of my opinion on it though. Next up, we have Lights Out by Nevessa Allen, and this is one that I actually purchased either late November or the start of December. I can't remember exactly when, but I had seen it pop up now and then on social media. People seem to really be loving it. It's a bit of a dark romance, I think. Hand sliding into his pants. Why does this always happen to me? You know, when you open randomly open a book on a page and like, is that representative of what the entire book is gonna be? Anyway, but like, other than dark romance, I don't really know what it's about. I just it's one of those like hype situations where I see a lot of people liking it, loving it. It shows up everywhere, but I never really know what it's about. And I'm like, you know what, we're just gonna like for fun get it and then go into it at some point. Because that's fun to do sometimes. I don't always need to know what it's about. It does say book talk on the back and I kind of hate that a little bit. I want someone with a soul as black as night. Someone who would burn the world down for me and not lose a single minute of sleep over it. A soul black as night. Exciting. So his name is Josh, her name is Allie. Okay, but I'm excited. I'm super excited to be reading this at some point this year. Probably not probably soon, I think. We have one that I've been sitting on for ages as well. Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The reason I want to read this is actually because I really want to watch the series, but I prefer reading the books before going into the series. So we have to get through the book. There's grease on my cover that's not coming off, and that's weird. Where did that come from? Anyway, Daisy is a girl coming of age in LA in the late 60s. I love that. It's like, is it historical fiction if it's in the 60s? Technically? It just seems like the 60s are so long ago, but then again, not really. It's odd. It's an odd one. The making of that legend is chronicled in this riveting novel written as if it were the oral history of one of the biggest bands of the 70s. So I think she goes on the road with them, the Six, the band, and that it's like told from there. Oh, that's funny. Oh, it's written like this. That's interesting. I did not know. I guess we'll see. It looks like it's in an interview. Because it's like Warren, and then he says something, and then Graham says something, Billy says something, Eddie says something. Interesting. Anyway, we'll see how it turns out when I get to it at some point, but I really want to read it. I've had it for a while by now, so we should really get to it. Another one that I currently have on Libby, and I thought that it was gonna take a while before I actually got access to it, but the sequel to What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez, which is Where the Library Hides. I loved at least like the second half of What the River Knows. I recognize that it's a bit of a slow one at the start. It does take a while to get rolling, but I really adore, especially the second half, so I've been super excited for the sequel to well, it was released in like November, I think. I just still don't have my Fairy Loot edition, so it's like they're a bit slow with that one. That's fine, we're taking our time, it's okay, I can be patient if I need to be. But I did get it on Libby. I put a hold on it like months ago, and I finally got access to it last week, so hopefully before it's forcibly removed from my library on there, I'll be able to read it. But it's a sequel. We follow our lead girl. It's young adult fantasy, also a bit historical fiction because I think it takes place, what is it inspired by? I actually don't know. Early 19 something? I don't know. But we follow a girl who goes to Egypt to sort out or figure out what happened to her parents. And there's a whole mystery with like artifacts and a guy as well who's not necessarily the nicest, but like there is a certain air about him. And mysteries. What happened to those parents? Who knows? Well, I know because I read the first book. But do you know? Will we get more questions answered in the sequel? I hope so. We have one to a book that really surprised me when I read it. That didn't make any sense now that I think about it. We have one to by an author who wrote a book that really surprised me when I read it. There we go. Solved it. Figured it out. Language. 10 out of 10. Anyway, Not Another Love Song. Thank you. I was like, story song? By Julie Soto. So when I read Forget Me Not, I was sucked in. It was so good. It's her debut, and debuts sometimes they hit and sometimes they just don't, and sometimes there are certain bits of it that hit and some that just don't. This was so good. Like, I was so surprised by this book. I had no expectations going into it, and I think I just read it on a whim because I found out that it was available on KU, and so I like just reading a lot on my iPad. It's easy. With paperbacks, you have to like figure out the perfect lighting because otherwise your eyes take damage and stuff. So it's just so much easier to read on iPad or a laptop. You know, it is what it is. So I read Forget Me Not and I loved it so much. And then she came out with this one, and I'm so excited because I feel like if this one hits the same way, she's probably going to be one of those authors that I'm just going to like auto buy. Do I know what this is about? No, not really. I think there are two musicians. I think he's kind of like born into the music scene, so he's a bit of a nepo baby, whereas she's fighting hard, and then they're kind of rivals or something like that. But like, we'll see. I'm excited. I'm so excited. Adult romance. It's hopefully gonna be good. We have more adult romance. The sequel to If Only You? What is the first one of the Bourbon Brothers called? If Only You? Only When It's Us. Oh, it's called Only When It's Us? I cannot get a grip on those titles. Okay. If Only You, is that the last one then? I have 1 and 2 and then I have like 6 or 7. I don't know. I kind of skipped a couple. I'll get them, it's fine. I don't know why that happened. Anyway. So do I fully know what this is about? No. But I did love the first one. I thought it was great. I thought it was charming, even though the lead character does kind of have some issues now and then that are a little bit annoying. It's fine. She didn't annoy me so much. But I'm really excited to see what else is going to happen with the Bergman family. So it's the second one in the Bourbon Brothers series. He's the brother this time. I think we've been introduced to her in the first one, but I cannot fully remember sobbing in public. Okay, so we'll see how it goes though. Yeah. I want to read a lot of romances this year. I'm starting school, so I need to, like, in my free time, read stuff that are a little bit on the lighter side. I think romances are good for that. Not too much world building. Well, it depends a little bit on what kind of romance it is, I suppose, but like not a whole lot of world building to keep track of is what I need. I have another one that was like super hyped when it came out. I can't remember if it's kind of fallen off that a little bit with the sequel, and I think there's a third one coming out as well. I think it's a trilogy. Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. Oh, I forgot to say, Bourbon Brothers is by Chloe Lees, by the way. This is what I believe is dark romance. Humorous as well, I think, but I'm not too sure. It was so hyped when it came out though. I bought it on a whim because it was so hyped. I have a couple of those books in my collection, and that's okay. Sometimes it's okay to buy it because of hype. Do I fully know what it's about though? No. I think it's like two rival murderers, and that is basically all I know. And I'm okay with that. Something about ghosts of their past. Is it literal ghosts or is it like metaphorical ghosts? I don't know. I guess we'll see once we get to it. Oh, someone's dying. That's nice. Okay. Every serial killer needs a friend. Every game must have a winner. Are those two statements related? Like, what's going on here? Ready to claim more than just their newfound romance. Can Rowan and Sloane dig themselves out of a game of graves? Or have they finally met their match? I don't know, I guess we'll see. Is it a happy ending? I don't freaking know. We have one that I've had on my TBR. This is another backlog one. Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I mean, I've had it since shortly after it came out, so I've not had it for that long. But I feel like it's another one of those I'm like, I'm so drawn to it, and I can't really explain exactly why. I just feel like I'm gonna love this book, and I just don't dare to read it. So, all these end pages are so cute, by the way. They're so cute. Okay, anyway, this is my vibe. This is so my vibe. So, but it's about Tress, who needs to get off an island or something like that. She ends up on a ship and goes on a voyage. Yeah, and then we're just following her as she's like experiencing getting away from home for a change. So what it's about other than that, I don't really know, but I'm so excited. I will say this is one of the secret projects. I did not love a wizard's, oh my gosh, what is it? A Wizard's Guide to Surviving Medieval England? A Wizard's Guide to Surviving something. It has a very long title. I didn't love it. I'm sorry. So this is another one of his secret projects, but I think this is also better received. I have no idea about the Sunlit Man. I haven't actually looked into it, but it's another one that I kind of like, if it looks like people are liking it, I'll probably add it to the collection at some point. This is a bit of a backlog one, not exactly, but I have so many Jennifer Hartman books that I've not touched, and I don't know why I just continue to buy them because I've not read a single one of her books. But I just like how they sound when it's a dark romance. I like how they sound when I like come across them, so I'm like, you know what, we can just like, it's fine, it'll come home with me. But I have not read a single one of them, and it's so odd. So Still Beating is the first one of hers I got, and so it'll be the first one of hers I am gonna read. I think this is the one where they are kidnapped? Yeah, kidnapped and then by a madman. She's basically there, another guy is kidnapped as well, and the two of them start a romance while they're kidnapped. And I don't know, there's probably some secrets that will come to light and stuff, but a bit of a dark one. There is a disclaimer on the back that says there's essay in it, so just be aware of that, but it's dark romance, so you kind of like, I feel like especially with dark romance you have to tread carefully if you have issues with certain subjects, because they tend to show up. So just you know, just be aware of that. Then we have Flawless by Elsie Silver. This one I put on the list because I have the entire series. I am very confident that I'm gonna love it. It's like small town cowboy romance, sort of. And so I've read Wild Love and Wild Eyes, and I loved both of them. Wild Eyes was so good. So I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna love them, but I have the entire series. I need to get it started, and so that's why it's on this list. Want your daughter back yet? I promise I'll be good. What? How am I supposed to take that? Pick up your phone, you pretty motherfucker. You think I'm pretty? What's going on here? I don't know. The first line is, you got one angry motherfucker here, Eden. Okay, just set the tone. Someone's angry. Sometimes I love reading first lines in books. Anyway, golden boy of professional bull riding. The agent says he has to clean up his image, and then he's stuck with the agent's daughter. That could turn pretty awkward pretty quickly. I am so ready for it. Anyway, so we have that on the list as well. This one I had to like dig out from below a stack of 12 paperbacks or something like that. Halfway to the Grave by Janine Frost, and these are like kind of like, actually, what is it from? I need to make sure that I have the right decade. Yes, 2010. Copyright Act 1988. What? Excerpt from One Foot in the Grave 2008. Oh, it's from copyrighted in 2007. It's paranormal romance from either 07 or the 10s, and I'm so ready for it. I love paranormal romance from that decade. Okay, listen, from that decade. True Blood is my jam. Okay, True Blood is my, yeah, I love it. True Blood can feed my soul. That's the vibe that I want, and I'm so ready. I am truly my mother's child. Like, if you wonder where I get that from, it's from my mom. To my mother, who always believed in me even when I didn't. See, we love mothers, right? Okay, anyway, so Halfway to the Grave. Do I fully know what this is about? I think she's like half, is she the one who's like half vampire or something like that? I cannot really remember. One of them is like that, but it might not be this one. No, half human, half vampire female. Yeah, that's her. So, and she's a bounty hunter, and I'm excited. I love even the cover. Like, it's so old. I love it. It's so outdated. It's so charming. Who would go bounty hunting in this dress? Nobody. But we love it. So anyway, these are the only kinds of covers where I'm okay with real life people being on them. I need the entire series. I think it's like 12, 13 books or something. Or maybe this is the one where it's like 21. And I'm okay with it. We're gonna get started. I'm excited. I am locked in. I am ready to dedicate myself to that project. We're gonna have some fun. Then we have, this has been on the backlog for, when did I get my first Illumicrate box? September 2021, and this was the month after. No, this was November 2021, because Iron Widow was October. Why do I remember these things out of the blue? I don't know. But Little Thieves from November 2021, and I have not read it yet. It's a backlog one. We gotta get to it. It's supposedly so good, and it's just been sitting on my shelves for the longest time. I do have an ebook. I have the arc for the sequel. Is it not 2021 or is it 2022? I'm kind of starting to second guess myself because I'm like, I could not possibly have been a subscriber for that long. That sounds so obscene. It's 2022. It's probably 2022. No, it is 2021. Oh my gosh. Time flies. I'm getting so old. What's happening? Anyway, so we gotta get to this one, Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. It is a retelling of The Goose Girl. We're following a girl who's not very nice. She steals and stuff, and then she gets in trouble with, who is it? Hold on. She's a jewel thief. Oh yeah, I think she takes on the identity of like a princess or something. She gets in trouble with the wrong god, and she's cursed to turn into jewels stone by stone. So with a feral guardian half-god, Giselle's sinister fiance, that's the girl whose life she basically stole, she's impersonating, and an overeager junior detective on her tail, Vanya has just 2 weeks to pull off her biggest grift yet, or she risks losing more than her freedom. She could lose her life. And this is the detective as well, so I'm excited. I am looking forward to reading about maybe a bit of an unlikable lead character, at least at the start, before she learns from her mistakes, corrects some character flaws, and all of that. This is another one that's been on my backlog for a little bit. Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. And I've heard so many lovely things about this. And I'm so scared to go into it because when people generally love books and you end up not loving them, I start to question myself, like, am I sane? So, am I just stupid? Do I just not get it? So, this is one of those I'm a little bit scared to go into for that reason. I don't fully know what it's about, and I don't really fully want to know what it's about before going into it. But it's a romance. And adult, of course, and, or not of course, but it is. And I have high hopes, and I hope they don't get crushed. But she's on the list. She's a part of the 2025 project. In an effort to prepare myself for Sunrise of the Reaping? Sunrise on the Reaping. Hey Mitch's book. I am gonna finally read the song, no, that's not what it's called. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So I have not watched the movie either, by the way, because I've been waiting to read this. I did, ooh, that's very green. Wow, that almost hurts to look at. I did read that it's a bit of an odd one because like President Snow is basically a psychopath, is redeemed a little bit in this book, which feels weird. So we'll see about it though. Ambition will fuel him, competition will drive him, but power has its price. It's about President Snow. If you read The Hunger Games, which by the way I did not get started with my reread of them in December because I ran out of time. Copyright 2020. Is it from 2020? My goodness. I'm so behind. Anyway, so we'll get into it eventually. And then we have the last one of my physical books, and then 4 that are probably from KU. Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. This is a continuation. It's not a continuation of the series per se, but the lead girl in this, Rosalind, I think her name is, she is from The Silent Delights, which I loved. That duology, I loved it so much. So we have YA fantasy, a bit historical fiction as well, some romance in there. Rosalind at this point is, I think she's working as like a double agent or something like that, and that's all I know. I don't know what the conflict is. I have not read too much into it. I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. But I did like her character quite a lot in The Silent Delights, so it'll be fun to see. Also, we got some beautiful, stunning art. This is the Fairy Loot edition, and I do have the novellas as well, which I'm excited to read as well because I need to know what happened after the second book. What's it called? Our Violent Ends. I just need to know, and I think the 2 novellas might give me some answers a little bit maybe. I'm hoping at least. So before I can read that though, I need to read this one. So we'll get to this one this year for sure. And then we have 4. We have 2 romances, we have 1 romantasy, and then we have like an old, not classic, but I'm pretty sure that some of you guys are gonna love that I put it on the list. So, Rock Bottom Girl by Lucy Score. I don't actually know what it's about. Adult romance though. Lucy Score I do like quite a lot. I think her writing is charming. So I found this one. I cannot tell you the plot at all. But it's in my is it on my KU library? I like continuously put this back or like return it, and then I borrow it, and then I return it and borrow it. I might just get the paperback, to be honest. We'll see, but it's my plan to read it this year. I've had an eye on it for a while. I found one that I haven't actually had an eye on for a long time. But I was like, I need to get just one book that I don't really know much about, or that I haven't read about before, that I haven't really come across before either. I need to get just one of those on this list. So I found Drive by Kate Stewart, who also wrote the Ravenhood cycle. It's a duology. It has like a crazy high rating on Goodreads, which you could argue sometimes is not necessarily a good indicator of whether or not the book is good or not. Did I just say or not twice? It's fine. But I don't ever see this on social media, and I just wanted like one of those books to take up a spot on this list. So, do I know what it's about fully? I cannot remember. It was like, let's scout the library, and so I just read like a ton of synopses in the shortest amount of time, and now I'm kind of like mixing them up in my head a little bit, so I can't tell you what it's about. But Drive by Kate Stewart though is also a part of the 2025 reading project. We have Blood Mercy. These are by this very, very long romantasy series. They are by Bella Roth, and this is on the list because I have had, like, aside from Savage Lands, Blood Mercy is the one I've had in my KU library for the longest. So from sometime in 2021, I don't even know if these are still available on KU. So I might just be reading the first one and then I'm stuck, because this is again one of those instances where they have not been released as UK paperbacks, so I don't really have easy access to them, and they're gonna end up costing me a ton per book, more than I can afford. But I really want to give the series a go, so it's on the list. It is romantasy with vampires. How many books are there in this series? Let me just... 8. There's 8 books in the series. It's quite a lot. And like some of them are split up into 2 because they're so thick. So it's a bit of an ambitious goal to start. I have to blow my nose, which is why it's red. It's a bit of an ambitious addition to the reading project, but we will see. I'll give the first one a go. If I like it, I'll look into getting the sequels. If I don't, we'll just drop it. It's fine. And then the last one is The Princess Bride, which I have not read ever. It's by William Goldman, And I have not even read or I have not read the book. I have not even watched the movie. I don't even know if there are several movies. I have not watched any of them if there are. I just know that the guy who plays the prince or something, or I actually don't know if he's the prince, but there's the guy in it. I think he's the lead guy. He's played by the same guy who plays the doctor in Saw, and I'm like, that's an interesting jump. I need to know what this is about. So I'm gonna read The Princess Bride. I have never read it. I've heard that it's lovely. It's kind of like a fantasy classic, you could say, and so it's on my list for this year. There has to be like one of those, I feel. One of the ones you need to read as a fantasy reader, you know? There has to be one of those on the list. I actually haven't added one of those on the, or have I? I can't remember what my 2023 list was. I need to go look at it, I think, if I can find it. But anyway, those were the 25 books. So if you've read any of them, let me know your thoughts. If there are any of them as well that you are super excited about, let me know too. It's a daunting task, I think. My reading goal for 2025, because I'm starting school, is a lot lower than it's been the past couple of years. So I set it to 60. 25 out of 60 is quite a lot, so we'll see how it goes. This is also one of the reasons I don't think I'm gonna do monthly TBR videos throughout the year, because I don't know how much time I'll have to read between doing school projects and stuff, and just fitting in work as well. So we'll see about it, but I'm gonna do my best to find time to read because I love reading. But yeah, I've lowered my goal a little bit, so 25 out of 60. It's quite a lot, so we'll see how many I can manage throughout the year, but I think it's a good list. At least as I have made it like within the 2 weeks since I've made it, I still feel like it's a good list. Did that make sense? English is hard sometimes. Anyway, if you want to check out any of the books, I will be leaving links to them in the description box, so there are links to both Amazon and Waterstones depending on where you want to go check them out, because I haven't really summarized most of them at least. So if you're curious about summaries, feel free to go check them out there. But that is all I got for you guys today. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to hit the thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this from me, but also all the other booktube stuff, definitely consider sticking around by clicking on the subscribe button. However, I'm going to leave you to it now. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye! Oh, you know you're beautiful.